We continue our reaction to the State of the Nation address. An organisation representing mining-affected communities across the country, Mining Affected Communities United in Action, says the President failed to address their plight. The organisation is accusing government and Parliament of not holding mining companies responsible for failing affected communities. For more on the story, I'm joined by Meshack Mbangula, the organisation's national coordinator. Meshack, appreciate your time today. What would you have liked the President to address about the plight of mining-affected communities?
Firstly, it's very important that mining-affected communities are the most affected people, in the issues of economy, because they don't benefit anything. So it was important for the President to know or to get views or get informed by the people of MACUA to say what is it that we want to see being addressed. But unfortunately, the statement or whatever that he said is not from the communities. It's for them to benefit as the state. So it won't benefit anything at all from us, because the government have our reports of non-compliance from the government, from the mines. It have our reports of non-meaningful engagement from TMR. It have our reports from non-compliance from even the government themselves. So what we are saying is that they should have engaged us to say, what is it that communities want, and how should we inform the economy of South Africa? But that doesn't address anything from us. So we feel that they just engage themselves and feel that this is good for them and put that. So there's nothing good for instance, they talk about electric cars. We are having problem of electricity in South Africa, but we want to introduce issues of electricity. What will happen about that? We are failing to solve the problem of electricity, but we are introducing more problem of electricity. Doesn't make sense to us.
All right, Mr. Well, let's go back a little bit. The mining indaba in Cape Town has just ended a few days ago. Were you a participant at this indaba?
Unfortunately, for 10 years back, we've been forcing the mining indaba to say, let's be part and parcel of the decision-making, development of economy in South Africa. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. They've been taking decision for communities without them giving view to that.
So what I'm failing to understand is
we've not been part of that, because even if you have to be part of that, you have to pay money to engage in that sector. So they didn't want us to engage at all. So they're making decision to make more profits, to take minerals, to invade our country, take minerals, including our government, capitalist government, and the international corporates, without us giving information to them.
So, Meshack, let me understand. Are you saying you've tried to attend the mining indaba and have been prevented from doing that? Because one would assume that is potentially the best place to start. Because if you are protecting the interests of communities in mining areas, then that is an excellent platform, I would believe, for you to start engaging with the very people that are depriving those communities of what they're entitled to.
We marched into mining indaba for almost 8 years, giving memorandum and telling them, giving them information that is, we have to be part of decision making. We have to determine our own way of how do you want to see our economy, a sustainable economy for ourselves. But that's what, as of today, we are not part of that. We came up with an alternative mining indaba to make sure that we bring in all the countries that are affected by mining, to give them information, to say this is important to include us, because we are really tired of being abused by mining and lose everything, not benefiting everything. But unfortunately, the government, international corporations, they've not included us. We've been marching to mining up. As of today, we're not part of that. And it's because the government themselves is not interested in listening to the people who are highly affected by mining, losing land, affected by pollution, contaminated water, cracking houses, but nothing happens to the house. As we speak, if you go to a mining area, you smell poverty, inequality. Women are very much affected by these issues of mining. But the mining, especially Anglo and whatever, they go out there and do advertisement and say, we are doing good for the communities. That's not nonsensical, because they are not doing anything. We have given report to DMRE. We have given this report to Portfolio of Minerals and Portfolio of Minerals and the committee to say, look, these are the issues that we are facing. Please engage. As we speak, we are not being engaged.
Now, how many?
What that is happening.
How many mining communities do you represent?
We have 6,000 members, more than 6,000 members in our radical movement. And we're still having a lot of people who want to be part of the movement. In South Africa, that's the only radical movement that we can get dealing with this issue. But unfortunately, nobody wants to engage to say what is it that is happening, to get the information so that whatever decision they make, it's informed by the MACUA people. We don't want us to be represented by somebody. That's why Lona will say nothing about us without us.
Now, help me understand the 6,000. Are these 6,000 mines, or are these 6,000 individuals across a number of areas for various mines across the country?
We have 6,000 members. We were talking about a lot of organizations, 150 organizations that we have that is members of MACUA. So we're still having, the number is growing. So we believe that number itself, it's quite a big number to really represent the people. And what we are doing is to make sure we capacitate people for themselves to understand what are their rights. Because if people understand, have knowledge, we unleash the potential for them to be able to advocate for themselves. So most of the information that have to be given by the people, the mines, the government doesn't really give it to them. We have a constitution that doesn't work for us. We have information that doesn't reach the people. So our work, we are doing that to make sure people understand that they have the rights in South Africa. But unfortunately, there's non-compliance from the mines. There's no monitoring from the TMRE, which gives us a very serious problem. West, the government, the president, in his statement, he's not really saying what are we going to do to make sure the communities are going to benefit, in the new era that we are going in. So corruption is the worst thing that is giving a problem in South Africa. Issues of health have collapsed, education have collapsed. The list is long, but not everything has collapsed. So we, as a radical movement, MACUA, we have decided to take everything into our hands to say, look, we will push and make sure everything goes accordingly. We've given them information, but nobody wants to look at that information and address it. The president himself should have looked at our reports and say, these are the things that I'm going to do to make sure the people that historically been disadvantaged by apartheid or by, to address those things. Nothing is going to benefit us. And it is time where we say enough is enough.
Finally, Meshack, before we let you go, the world is increasingly moving to green energy. What impact do you think this will have on mining communities?
You see, that's a very important point that you're talking about. We have to do away with monopoly. Green energy, we're talking about, especially it's green hydrogen energy that is happening. people should not be centered to the government or ESCOM, because that's a problem that you're having, or to these capitalists. This should be an idea that is given to the communities and everyone understand what is happening. Because if it can be a green energy, but at the same time it can be very problematic when it comes to financially, because it will be expensive if it's owned by, if it's monopolized. But if it's then dealt with in a way that is everyone put his ideas and everyone benefits from that, it will be good. We should be understanding that we have what we call integrated resource plan, where we have different energies. We've got solar, we've got wind turbines, we've got this green energy. All these energies should be looked at and really engage in to see which energy is the best. Because now we're dealing with issues of coal, but it's a problem. And because of the corruption, because people decide to have this very same green energy. Who knows about green energy? If you go to communities, nobody knows. That's why MACUA is doing everything to make sure people, there is green energy. And what is happening about this green energy? Who's going to benefit? And how it's going to work? That's a problem. If they can be able to disseminate information to the communities and say, what is it that you think about green energy? That's very important, but little information is given to the very same people that will be affected by this, because they want to own the very same sector and make sure they maximize their profit. It's a very serious problem about this government, about the international corporations, especially the mines, because they maximize profits without really talking to us, MACUA, and to the people that are affected by mining.
Meshack Mbangula, appreciate your time. He's the Mining Affected Communities United in Action National Coordinator, and was speaking to us this afternoon.